Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Rabbi.
How are you?
Baruch
Frank,
Hashem.
I missed you this morning. Where you been? I missed you.
No, this morning I was at my daughter's place for Shabbos, so then
Okay.
I daven on that side.
Okay.
But I'll be there. Yeah, I'll be there tomorrow
But we
morning.
missed you. Just
Thank
to
you very
know that
much.
we missed you.
Oh,
Jeffrey,
Thank you.
Erev Tov, our Baal Koreh Jeffrey. How are you?
thank God, Rob. All good. How are you doing?
Jeffrey, I know that usually on a Sunday we don't hijack you to be Baal Koreh, but I would like to hijack you today to prepare your Torah with you. Would you mind?
Yeah, of course. Be a pleasure.
Okay, so when we get there, I'll tell you which part to go, which book to go, and then we'll go from there, if you don't mind.
Are we doing the Torah or are we doing Nevi'im?
No, we're doing Yom Yerushalayim. We're doing Yom Yerushalayim, but we're going to bring sources. I want to bring sources also that people must understand that Yom Yerushalayim, it's not just a day that happened. I've done quite a bit of research. Baruch Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu opened my eyes and allowed me to find different ideas that even from our Torah that speak about Yom Yerushalayim in a 6-day war, believe it or not. So if you read it in English, people will understand it better. You follow what I'm saying, Jeffrey?
Yes.
So I hope that you don't mind.
Pleasure.
Okay, good. So what I'm gonna do now, Rabotai, I'm gonna mute everyone. I'm gonna start muting everyone. Actually, I'm gonna mute everyone, and then Jeffrey gonna unmute himself. Okay, Jeffrey, you unmute yourself when we're ready. So first of all, I would like to dedicate the shiur in the soul of Esther Kaden Bat Ketia, Mordechai ben Rahma, Tamar Bat Zeava, Eitan ben Keren ואבישי נאה, מלכה רג'ינה בת ג'וי, יעקב סלומון בן פרחה, ופרחה בת סלחה. Also, I would like to dedicate the shiur in the health of Liora Bat Miriam, Menashe Naji ben Farha, הרב משה בן ביבתיה, הרב משה בן דבורה, הרב שלמה יהודה בן דליה, הרב אברהם בן מרימה, דבורה בת אסתר, שיינה קהילה בת חנה, מרדכי דוד בן לאה, יהודה הלל בן שולמית, לאה חיים נחום בן פסע רזה הכהן, ברוך בן שרה חיינה, אהובה קדן בת טלי אסתר, לאה בת רחל, פסח יצחק בן אלה, איילה עדן בת רבקה, יהודה בן אליעזר, מאיר בן יהודה, אריאל בן שילת, אורי בן יעל, חנניה שלום בן אביגדור, שושנה בת פייגה איתה, אברהם בן שרה ונתן הלוי, ישראל בן צילה, בעזרת השם רפואה שלמה תודם, ולכל חולה ופצועי עמו בית ישראל בכל מקום שהם. When we have a need, please God, speedy recovery and health, that the shiur going to be in their health, and for the protection of our soldier in the north, in the south, in the central of Israel, that busy operating and defending our brothers and sisters and our parents, everyone else, those that working day and night, the member of the army, the member of the security forces, the member of the rescue people that risk their life to rescue others. Please God that the show is going to be in for their merits. Rabotai, Tuesday night, Wednesday, going to be Yom Yerushalayim. What is Yom Yerushalayim? Bemet, what do we know about Yom Yerushalayim? And that's what we're going to try to discuss today. What do we know about Yom Yerushalayim? I'm going to do a history about Yom Yerushalayim. I'm actually going to also try to connect it to the spiritual part of it, Be'ezrat Hashem. So Be'ezrat Hashem, na'aseh v'natzliach, v'Hashem alenu berachamav yarviach. We all know that the 28th of Iyar is Yom Yerushalayim. That means on the 28th of Iyar in the year 1967, for the Common Era, the eastern part of Jerusalem, what we call it the old part of Jerusalem, been released from the Jordanian. Because the Jordanian, the border of Jordan and Israel was actually by the area that's called Shmuel HaNavi, okay, that's Bet Israel. It's basically from the city of the main street that you all know in Jerusalem, King George, take maybe by walking, okay, if you walk, not more than 15 minutes, maximum 15, 20 minutes. And if you drive, it's actually 2 minutes, not more than 2 minutes by car. The border was also by the other part of the eastern part of Jerusalem that go all along towards the east, south. It was also Shkunat Katamon, the famous Shkunat Katamon, that way was the border. I don't remember, I was 2 years old. I'm actually revealing now to you the age of my age. I was 2 years old, and my parents, they live in a house. They didn't have a bomb shelter. They live on a ground floor. They have a house, and the bullet was actually penetrating through the shelters because they didn't have a bomb shelter, but they have those shutters, and they was flying right through. You know, the Jordanian was shooting and came through. So in 1967, actually on the 28th of Iyar, the old part of Jerusalem been liberated. That means the Kotel HaMa'aravi, the Western Wall, and all the holy other places that was underneath the Jordanian authority been released. Okay? What's happened in the 6-day war? The 6-day war actually was a coalition of 6 countries to attack Israel, to destroy and to annihilate the Jewish people from Israel. It was, and that was Egypt, that led by Abdul Nasser, that he was the president of Egypt, Hussein, that was the president of Jordan, Syria, the president was Assad, not the Assad that we know today, that was his son. In Lebanon, they attacked us also from Lebanon. Then Iraq and Saudi Arabia that sent and joined them to destroy the Jewish state of Israel. But we know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed his greatest miracle, and he showed us his salvation. And those miracles, tangibly, we saw them in our eyes. It's beyond understanding the miracle that happened. That in 6 days, the Jewish people, that was the minority in that time, managed to conquer until the Jordan River in the east, in the north, all the Golan Heights. In the south, they managed to even conquer half part of the Sinai Peninsula. It was a great victory for the Jewish people, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu show us his salvation, show us his miracle that no one can deny in 1967. Jerusalem in that time was like a ghost city, a ghost city. My uncle told me a story because he was in the underground. And after that, in a 6-day war, he became part of the army, the Israeli Defense Force. And he told me that when on a 6-day war, where my grandparents used to live, there used to be street, and the sniper used to shoot everyone that used to walk on the street. They look, anyone that they can see, they was shooting just to kill. He told me that he used to see the little kids actually playing game with the snipers, that running from one side of the street to the other side to show that the snipers can't actually hit them. Few kids got hit, but That was the game that they had in the olden days. The city of Jerusalem was like a ghost city. No one was walking in that part of the city. Obviously, in the new part of the city, people lived, okay, but still in danger. People was frightened. The situation in Eretz Israel before the war, the 6-day war, was very tense. The Akadosh Baruch Hu actually showed us great miracle. I don't know how many of you know, but they interview Levy Eshkol. Levy Eshkol was the president, the prime minister of Israel at that time. And in his interview, he started to mumble. He couldn't finish a sentence. He was so stressed and so tense that he couldn't finish a complete sentence. It didn't make sense. And it was so embarrassment. Why? Because he was underneath so much stress. Because in Israel, they realized the danger that was in that time on Eretz Israel. What's happening? Israel realized that, it's going to sound very familiar, the United States of America promised us weapon. In the last minute, they decide that they're not going to supply us. They're going to stop the ammunition supply to Israel. Israel found itself in a very difficult situation. While Russia was supplying the Arab nation, with the most advanced airplane, jet fighters, the MiG. Not only that, the weapon that Russia was supplying to the Arab nation is beyond understanding. Israel prepared themselves, and they didn't reveal it because they didn't want to break the morality in Israel, that people will start losing hope. But in Tel Aviv, in the city of Tel Aviv, they got actually permission that certain parks, they're going to prepare them for mass grave. And before you designate the area to bury bodies, you have a special preparation that you have to do to make that area holy. So that area, say many people that know that the Hevra Kadisha of Tel Aviv designate certain, listen to that, certain parks that they're going to do mass grave. That was the situation in Eretz Israel. People lived in fear. They didn't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But Akadosh Baruch Hu, with his mercy and his compassion, let us win the war, show us great miracle, great salvation. The Israeli Air Force strike the Egyptian airport, destroy all the airplane. That was the first attack that they done. That was the first tragedy that the Israeli Defense Force by the Tzahal done to destroy the jet fighters. And that's what they done in the south, that's what they done in the north, and in the east, Baruch Hashem. The commentary that was in that time, that the Russian was so cross with those Arab countries, why you didn't protect your airplane? Because the Muslim was those 6 nations, those 3 nations that actually, or 4 countries that started the war, was so confident that they're going to annihilate the Jewish people, that they're going to throw us straight to the sea. But Akadosh Baruch Hu changed the ideas, and we know the great victory that we have in 6-day war, in 6 days, the 6-day war they call it. But one thing that we have to remember, the Israeli Rabbinical Association in Israel, that was in that time the Sephardi rabbi was the chief rabbi of Israel, was Rav Yitzhak Nisim, and Rav Ashkenazi was Iser Unterman, sorry. The name is Unterman. I'm looking here at my notes. and they declared the day of the 28th of Iyar as a day of the releasing of Jerusalem, but they call it the east part of Jerusalem, a day that it's a day of Simcha, a day that we actually, all the Jewish people have to show gratitude to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why is it so important that the rabbinical authority in Israel and the chief rabbis of Israel, the Ashkenazi and the Sfaradim, decide that they have to show gratitude on that day? Why is it so important to have gratitude? And where do we learn that? Where do we learn that gratitude is so important? So I'm going to bring few sources from Torah Shebichtav, and then I'll bring from Torah Shebe'al Peh, and then we'll move on to the show. The first source that we have in the Torah, it's in Parashat Kitetze. Okay, the Torah there tells us Kitetze la milchama, when you go to war. And then the Torah continue and tell us, Lo teta'ev Mitzri, we're not allowed to despise Egyptian. What is the Torah speaking about? The Torah tells us that although that we was a slave in Egypt, although that the Egyptian make us slave, put us through hard labor, not only that, the Egyptian killed every male. Okay, every male that born, they drown it in the Nile. Although so, we're not allowed to despise them. Why? We have to show them gratitude. Hazal explained, because Shenatnu lecha achsaniya, okay, that they was kind to us and they give us a place to stay and food to eat. In that merit, we have to show gratitude to the Egyptian. Although that they killed us, although that they put us into slavery, to hard slavery, we're not allowed to despise them. Okay. Then another source that the Torah bring us, it's regarding, we have a mitzvah in the Torah, Peter Hamor, to show gratitude to the donkey. Where do we learn that mitzvah? The Torah tells us in Parashat Bo it's in Sefer Shmot. The Torah there tells us that we have a mitzvah to show gratitude to the donkey. Why is that? Because when Bnei Israel left Egypt, they left with great fortune. A lot of money, a lot of jewelry, a lot of gold, a lot of silver, and etc. Chazal in a Gemara in Masechet Bechorot, page 6, folio 1, tell us the poor person amongst the Jewish people have 90 donkeys, full of treasure, full of wealth. So imagine those that wasn't poor. If the poor have 90 donkeys that carry only his wealth and gold, imagine how much was the rich. The Torah come and tell us, those donkey carry your wealth. Those donkey make sure that when you leave Egypt, you're not going to be poor. You have to show them gratitude. We have another place that the Torah tells us to show gratitude. That's in Parashat Mishpatim. There the Torah tells us something very interesting, to show gratitude to the dog. Why? The Torah tells us something very interesting. V'basar basadeh, if there is meat, a kosher meat that become trefa, for some reason you find that after the shechita that it's not kosher, that maybe there is hole in the land or whatever, you have an obligation to give it to the dogs. Basar basadeh trefa, lakelev tashlichum. That means Hazal tell us that if you find something that you can't eat as a Jew, because it's not now become not kosher, it's not kosher, obligate to give it to the dogs. Why dafka the dogs? Why not to other animals? Hazal say when the Jewish people left Egypt, the dog never barked on the Jewish people. V'kelev lo yiharatz leshono. That means when the Jewish people left Egypt, the dog of the Egyptian never barked on the Jewish people. We know that one of the character traits of a dog is to be loyal to his owner. And here, the dog gone against the character trait. זה הקדוש ברוך הוא, and that merit, you have to show gratitude. That the dog never barked when you left Egypt. So we see from here how important is gratitude. That's from the written Torah. From the oral Torah, I'm going to bring one, and then we will continue with the show. Chazal in the Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin, page Samech Daled Amud Aleph. Samech Daled is, sorry, not Samech, Tzadik, 94, folio 1. Chazal there tell us a story about Hiskiyahu HaMelech. Hiskiyahu HaMelech, he was from the house of Yehuda, the house of Judah. What does it mean? Hiskiyahu HaMelech was Melech Yehuda. In a time of Rehavam, Rehavam was the son of Shlomo HaMelech. The kingdom of Israel been split to two. What it means split to two? It was Malchut Yehuda and Malchut Israel, the kingdom of Israel and the kingdom of Judah. Judah is from the house of David HaMelech. And that time, Rehavam took two of the tribe of Israel, Yehuda and Binyamin. Yerovam ben Nevat, that became a king, took 10 tribes, and was two different kind of king in the land of Eretz Israel. And Chazal tell us that Hiskiyahu HaMelech was the king of Yehuda. And Hiskiyahu HaMelech, in that time, was in charge. He was the king of Jerusalem. And Sanherib came to conquer the city of Jerusalem. And when he came with his army, he came with 100, almost close to 1 million people to conquer the city of Jerusalem. When he saw Jerusalem, he said to all of his officers, if we just spit on Jerusalem, all the people are going to drown. So he decided, you know what, we arrived, we're very tired, let's rest tonight, we'll sleep. Tomorrow morning, we'll attack the city. That night was Tedvav Nisan, Pesach night. Akadosh Baruch Hu made a miracle. What happened in that night? He allowed all the soldiers of Sanherib to listen to the voice of the angel when they're singing, when they're praising the Almighty. And all of that, from that excitement, from that beautiful voice, they lost all their soul and they all died. And in the morning, when Sanherib wake up and he saw that all of his army died, immediately he ran away. He didn't understand what happened. Chazal in the Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin, Tzadik Dalet Amud Aleph, actually said that the angel in heaven said to Akadosh Baruch Hu that Hiskiyahu HaMelech adored that he was a tzaddik, and his time was not even a boy or a girl that didn't know Ilchut Tumah v'Tahara. Everyone knew the law of Tumah and Tahara, even the little kids. So Akadosh Baruch Hu wanted to make him the Mashiach, the prophet. That means he gonna redeem us, he gonna save us. Came the angel of heaven and actually say he doesn't deserve it. Say Akadosh Baruch Hu, why? He's a great tzaddik. He said, tzaddik, we have no problem with that. We agree. But he didn't show gratitude. After that miracle that you performed for him, he never said thank you. And because he didn't show his gratitude, he doesn't deserve to be the Mashiach. And that's how this stopped. Until Shlomo HaMelech tell us in a book of Mishle, Proverbs, in chapter 15, verse 13, he said, Mi shelo mekir tova lechavero, a person that doesn't show gratitude to his friends, lo tamush ra'a mitoch beto. A person that doesn't show gratitude to his fellow friends for all the good that he done to him, lo tamush ra'a mibeto, that means that he have tzoros. When a person doesn't know how to show gratitude, Has v'shalom, Shlomo HaMelech said that person going to suffer. I don't want to say more. He actually said a bit more in more depths. Ra'ah. Ra'ah is bad thing going to happen to him. So what do we have to understand from here? Rabota, we have to understand something very interesting. That when we see miracle, we have to show gratitude to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Kafhet Iyar, we saw miracle. We saw tangible. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu done it, that it happened so quickly that in 6 days they conquered and assaulted a half of the Sinai Peninsula. In the north, all the Golan Heights being taken. In the east, until the Jordanian River. That means from Jerusalem, from the east part of Jerusalem, until the Jordanian River. Is that not miracle? In 6 days. The war that we're fighting now, we are sitting close to 240 days. Actually 239 days, 240 days. What did we achieve? Hardly nothing. Hardly nothing. We didn't manage to destroy Gaza. We didn't manage to bring most of the hostages. Why? Because there is no unity. And the next part of the Sha'ul, I'm going to go to the part of unity. But before that, we have to understand why is it so important to show gratitude to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. David HaMelech wrote in his book Tehillim, in chapter 60, verse 6, Natan lecha nes leitnoses. HaKadosh Baruch Hu made you, he said Natan, but it means given you or done you a miracle to be elevated. What does it mean? The Mefarshim explain that there is something very interesting. That when someone thanks HaKadosh Baruch Hu, show HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu for all the miracle that he done for him, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will continue and do miracle. But if we think that it's because the army, kohi ve'otzem yadi, it's my army, it's my strength, it's the Air Force, it's whatever you want to call it, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu deal with it yourself. And we have to remember that on Yom Yerushalayim, one of the most important things that we have to do is to show thank you to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to say thank you that He given us all of those, a part of the old city of Jerusalem, that people can go to the kotel, can pray in a kotel. What people was missing for years and years and years, that couldn't go to the kotel. The Jordanian didn't allow us, although that it was part of the agreement with the British. They didn't agree to it. They didn't allow the Jewish people, after the British left, to go to the Kotel HaMa'aravi. Unheard of. Unheard of. Not only that, that every person that used to walk, the Jordanian snipers used to shoot and kill. And today, Baruch Hashem, we can go to Kotel HaMa'aravi, to all the grave of the tzaddikim, that there is Kever David, Shimon HaTzaddik, all of those graves in that area all along. Kever Rachel, all of that. Baruch Hashem, the grave of the patriot, all of that. Baruch Hashem. We have to show gratitude, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu will do for us more miracles. I would like to go to the second part of the show. Rabotai, we have to understand that the operation to release Jerusalem, the east part of Jerusalem, actually started on the 27th of the Iyar. We have to understand the 27th of Iyar And here comes something that we actually going to focus, and we're going to see something very interesting. There is a book that called Hitgalut. The book of Hitgalut is a book that's been written by Rav Shmuel Yaniv. Rav Shmuel Yaniv, just quick history. Last year, exactly almost a year ago, exactly a year ago in a few weeks, you remember 2 little boys being shot and killed in the village of Hura. That's Hillel and Yagel Yaniv. That was his grandson. Harav Shmuel Yaniv studied in Yeshivat Merkaz Harav. Yeshivat Merkaz Harav is in Yerushalayim. And he's a great Talmid Chacham. He wrote a book, Hitgalut. And the book actually speaking about code, the Bible code. And he says something very interesting. He said, we all know that the 6-day war was when? On 1967, for the Common Era. But if you look at the counting from the creation, it was in the year 5727. 5727. That can be found in the book of Devarim. Jeffrey, book of Devarim, Parashat Vayelech, chapter 31, verse 4. Okay, I repeat, book of Devarim, Parashat Vayelech, chapter 31, verse 4. He said that if you look at the verse 5727 in the Torah, in a 5 book of Moses, you can find it in Sefer Dvarim, in Parashat Vayelech, chapter 31, verse 4. And there he says something very interesting. He says, if you read that verse, you're going to realize that the Torah actually is speaking about the 6-day war and what's happened to us in Jerusalem, the releasing of Jerusalem. And he said like this, and the Torah tells us there, Va'asa lahem Hashem, and the Almighty, Jeffrey going to read for us, Va'asa lahem Hashem, כאשר עשה לסיחון ולעוג מלכי האמורי ולארצם. Jeffrey, don't forget to unmute yourself because you're muted.
Sorry, Ross. I was just finding it out. Which parasha?
It's Parashat Vayelech. Look at Sefer Dvarim, chapter 31, verse 4.
Vayelech. I think I got that. Sorry.
Just look at chapter 31.
Okay, 1 minute. Chapter 31. Here we are. Sorry. Chapter 8.
No, you don't have to be sorry.
Won't be a second. Towards the end, sorry. Chapter 31. Yeah, verse 4. Right. Sorry, Rob, I got it.
Read it.
Right. Hashem will do to them as he did to Sihon and Og, the kings of the Amorite, and their land which he destroyed.
Okay. The Torah tells us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gonna do, okay, what he done to the nation of Sihon. Sihon was one of the giants, and Og was his brother, also a giant, the 2 giants that used to protect the land of the Amorite. Okay. Say, Harav Shmuel Yaniv, if you take the word Sihon, change the letters around, you get the word Hussein. Who was the king of Jordan at that time? Hussein. Not only that, he said what he done to the great nation. Who was in that time that was thinking that the great nation in the Middle East, that protecting the Amorite? Og and Sihon. In 1967, who was so arrogant? Abdul Nasser, Hussein, and Assad. Akadosh Baruch Hu already hinting to us in the Torah, in a verse 5727 in his holy Torah, that what he done to Sihon, Ve'og, he will do to who? To Abdul Nasser, Hussein, and Assad. How do you learn that? Because it said Tafshin Kaf Zayin. Tafshin Kaf Zayin. That's 5727 from the creation. Another idea. The Gaon Mivilna, Rabbi Eliyahu ben Shlomo Mivilna. It's not sure where he born. He born around 304 years ago. Some people say Vilna, some people say Lita. Doesn't make a lot of difference. He said that Kaf Zayin Iyar, the 27th of Iyar, there is something very important about that day. What's so special about Kaf Zayin Iyar? Said the Gaon Mivilna, listen to that, that it's a day that the Sitra Achra, what is Sitra Achra? The other forces, that means all the negative forces in the world, he said, En lahem shlita ba'olam. They have no control in that day. That means that that day of the 27th of Iyar, on the 27th of Iyar, it's a very special day that actually can hasten the redemption of the Jewish people. That can speed the redemption of the Jewish people. So if we use Kaf Zayin Iyar this year with a lot of tefillot, with a lot of gratitude to the Almighty, to the Creator, for all the miracle that He done for us and still doing for us in Gaza, and in the north, but we saw yesterday and today. If we know how to thank Hakadosh Baruch Hu and to show our gratitude, we can see great miracle. Now I would like to focus on a day, Kafhet. Kafhet, it means 28th of Iyar, as you all know. What's happened on the 28th of Iyar, besides that, the conquering of the city of Yerushalayim? Rabotai, not many people know, but Hazal in the Gemara, in the Talmud Yerushalmi, Masechet Hagiga, Perek Bet Halacha Aleph, Hazal say something very interesting, that this is the Yortzeit of the Prophet Samuel. Prophet Samuel wrote for us Megillat Ruth. He wrote Megillat Ruth. Why did he write Megillat Ruth? The reason that he wrote Megillat Ruth, to show us the dynasty from Ruth, a Moaviah, from Ruth the Moabite, to David HaMelech, until the king David HaMelech. So the Yortzeit of Shmuel HaNavi, the prophet Samuel, is on when? 28th of Iyar. Where Shmuel HaNavi used to live, they used to call him Shmuel HaRamati. Ramati, Milshon Ramot. If you go in Yerushalayim, there is a city that's called Ramot. You drive 7 minutes further north to Ramot, you get to his grave. And from there, the Jordanians used to bomb the city of Jerusalem, the new part of Jerusalem. And on a 6-day war, they conquer it. Why? In the merit of Shmuel HaNavi. So just for us to understand that the 28th of Iyar, it's also the Yortzeit of Prophet Samuel, that his merit stood for us. Let's continue. Kafhet. Kafhet in Gematria means 28. Okay? 28. Kaf is 20. Het is 8. Together is 28. Rabotai. Let's continue. We know that in Kafhet Iyar, they conquered the entire city of Jerusalem. The old part That means all the eastern part of Jerusalem. Take the number 28, split it to 2. What are you going to get? 14. The word hand, yad, means 14. Yad beyad, 14 and 14, you get 28. What is the connection? We'll see just now. If you take, again, 14 and 14, yad, yad, which word you're going to get if you put them one after each other? Yadid. That means a friend. Come, Rabotai, and many of the Rabbonim explain like this. And they say that Kafhet Yar come to teach us something very important. That how important is the unity and the Jewish people. When the Jewish people, that the right hand and the left hand, that means the right and the left in Israel, going to be together hand by hand, we're going to get 28. And if we're going to be friend one to each other, respect each other, honor each other, we don't have to agree with each other, then we're going to see the miracle that we saw in Kafhet Iyar. That means Kafhet Iyar, it's all about the unity that we spoke earlier. That in that time, in a 6-day war, the Jewish people, the only thing that have is when the left and the right join together. That means the Likud and the Ma'arach in that time, that was the big parties, joined together. And there was Yad Beyad. There was united. The unity amongst the Jewish people, it's one of the most important things. Rabota, we have to understand. The concept of unity, it's only for the Jewish people. It doesn't work with the other nation. They maybe have coalition, United Nations, you know, all of this fancy name. But unity, they don't have. They can do coalition. Coalition they can do. No one will say no. And that's what United Nations. That's what is it? United States, they call it, of America, whatever you want to call it. But none of those nations can be united. They can maybe put a coalition together to fight together, but to be united, they can't. Especially not the enemy of the Jewish people. Where do we saw it? We saw it now on the 7th of October. Only now they're releasing part of the secret, what they knew. The agreement was that Hamas going to attack, and Mr. what his name in the north, what his name, Nasrallah, that he's the Hezbollah, going to start striking. Not only that, from the center of Israel, they're going to start causing a coup inside Israel. That's why Israel operating in Tulkarim, in Jenin, and all of those suburbs. Not only that, that they expected also the PLO, the police of the PLO, the army of the PLO to join them. But we saw that was no unity. And that's why they're very cross. Iran was very cross with Hamas because they didn't tell them the date. So they didn't got united. That just show you a little bit of the miracle that HaKadosh Baruch Hu do with us. A little bit of the miracle. The prophet Yehezkel, the Malbim that wrote commentary, it's a commentary on the prophet Yehezkel. He says something very interesting. Beyom Bo Gog. When Gog, that's the war of Armageddon, want to start, he said, what it means Gog and Magog? He said, if you take the gematria of Gog and Magog, it's 70. 70 nations going to be against the Jewish people, going to come to conquer the city of Jerusalem. And they will reach where? To Har HaZetim, to Mount Olive. HaKadosh Baruch Hu then going to put amongst those coalition of 70 nations going to cause a destruction among them. That this one not going to agree with that, and that not going to agree with that. That means that Esav, that's Edom, and Ishmael going to start having an argument between them. That means the Muslim and the Christian, and they're going to have a war. That's what we're waiting. And Hazal said, Mitzafon tifatah hara'ah. From the north, all of that's going to start. So when we see that Be'ezrat Hashem, that's going to be speedily in our days with no casualty, that Israel going to start striking in the north, we should be happy. We should realize that the war is coming. So what do we learn from that? It's the unity of the Jewish people. But I also would like to link it now also to Amalek, and to join it, Be'ezrat Hashem, that Yom Yerushalayim, to bring us some idea a bit further, to go further on. Another idea about the 28th of Iyar. The 28th of Iyar actually symbolized the war of the Jewish people with Amalek. Okay? It's very, very interesting. It's Jeffrey Parashat Beshalach in Sefer Shmot. You can prepare yourself. Parashat Beshalach, chapter 16, verse 1. 16, verse 1. Sefer Shmot, Parashat Beshalach. Many of the commentaries say what it means, Kafhet Iyar, the 28th of Iyar. He say it's not just the releasing of Jerusalem. Yes, it was the releasing of Jerusalem, but this war actually symbolized the war of the children of Israel with Amalek when there was in the wilderness. It says something very interesting in Sefer Shmot, in Parashat Beshalach, chapter 16, verse 1. It said there, Vayavo kol adat bnei Israel el midbar Sin. I'm skipping a bit. בחמישה עשר יום לחודש השני לצאתם מארץ מצרים. בכבוד, Jeffrey.
They journeyed from Elim, and the entire assembly of the children of Israel arrived at the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the second month from their departure from the land of Egypt.
Okay. Rabotai, focus with me, because now we're doing history. Bnei Israel, on the 15th of Nisan, that was Pesach night, we know that they left Egypt. The second month, in the year 2448 from the creation, what date was on the 15th? 15 of Iyar. In 15 of Iyar, the Torah tells us that the children of Israel arrived in Midbar Sin. Midbar Sin is Sinai. They arrived in Sinai, in the wilderness of Sinai. Chazal in the Gemara in Masechet Shabbat in 87 folio 2, Chazal tell us something very interesting. Less than 2 weeks after they arrived in Sinai wilderness, they arrived in a place that's called Refidim. When it was, Chazal in the Gemara say, 28th of Iyar. On the 28th of Iyar, Rabotai, listen. On the second month of the exodus of Bnei Israel in the year 2448 from the creation, they arrive in Refidim. What's happened in Refidim? Who came to fight with the Jewish people? Amalek. Amalek came to fight with the Jewish people. What does it say there? When they arrive in Refidim, Amalek came to fight with them. And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu said there, something very interesting. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Moshe Rabbeinu, chose for you people to go in fight with the leadership of who? Yeshua, to fight against the Amalekim. כי יד על כסיה מלחמה להשם בעמלק מדור לדור. That's mean, Rashi HaKadosh explained what it means, כי יד על כסיה. יד על כסיה. Rashi HaKadosh said that Amalek fought not only with the Jewish people. He fought about the religion that the Jewish people are, as a Jewish people, the identity of the Jewish people, and Kesya. What it means, Kesya? He fought about, he didn't want that the Jewish people will believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the master of the universe, and the religion that they hold. That's the Kiseh, the chair of the Almighty, and the Torah of the Almighty. That was their war, that Amalek came. What do we see from that? How do we know that Kesya, it's actually Jerusalem? How is that connected to the 28th of Iyar that they released the city of Jerusalem? The prophet Jeremiah said in his book, Perek Gimel Pasuk Yud Zayin. Listen what he said. Vayikra Yerushalayim kiseh. That means Jerusalem called the chair of the Almighty. Jerusalem is the heart, the chair, the heart of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That means all the divine of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is it in Yerushalayim. What did we see today? The war that we have between us and our cousin. What is it about? About Jerusalem. But wait a minute. In your Quran, the name Jerusalem not even mentioned one time. Us, in our 5 books of Moses, in the Tanakh, everything it says. It says, ומלכיצדק קרא לה עיר שלם, שלם, מלשון ירושלים, and then come Abraham Avinu, didn't want to embarrass him. He said, יראה, יראה, מלשון ירושלים. So in our Torah, already at the beginning of the 5 books of Moses, mention Jerusalem. So what is the fight about? Rabotai, listen like this. Ishmael, he was 13 when he done his bris. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Abraham Avinu in the age of 99 to do his bris, Abraham Avinu done Brit Milah, and 318 members of his household also done Brit Milah. Ishmael was amongst them. Ishmael was in the age of 13. The mystical rabbi explained that before the Mashiach come, you see that Bnei Ishmael, the children of Ishmael, ya'asu mehomot gdolot ba'olam. They'll cause a lot of havoc in the world. Why? And they wanted Jerusalem, because they want to have control in Yerushalayim, the Eretz HaKodesh. Why? Because the angel of Ishmael came to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and said to him, you said that Eretz Israel, the land of Eretz Israel, it's for the children of Abraham. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, yes. He said, but Ishmael also was the son of Abraham, Yitzhak and Abraham. He said, yes. The difference is that Yitzhak done Brit Milah on 8 days. Say HaKadosh Baruch Hu to the angel of the Ishmaeli. You done on the 13 days, when he was 13, after 13 years, when he was 13, not 13 days, 13 years old. He said to me, I'm going to give you certain amount of time that you're going to be in control of Eretz Israel. We saw that the Ottoman was in control of Eretz Israel. The Muslim was in control of Eretz Israel. Who was it? Hussein. The Jordanian. They have part of Eretz Israel. Not only that, in the south was Egypt. Gaza was part of Eretz Israel. Gaza, Eretz Plishtim, is part of Eretz Israel. In the north, we have Ramat HaGolan, that's Syria, that's part of Eretz Israel, and Damascus and all of that. And the other border with Lebanon, that's also part of Eretz Israel. Arzea, Lebanon. All of that, part of Eretz Israel. Who was occupying it? The Muslims. HaKadosh Baruch Hu given them their time. What's happened now? Now they're fighting for the final survivors, what we call them. They're trying to survive. Why is it Seder Mekubalim? Because they also done a Brit Milah. That merit of the Brit Milah given us as Jew the promised land. But because Yitzhak Avinu done on 8 days, we've been promised by HaKadosh Baruch Hu that land is going to be for us. And no one can take it from us. And not only that, that when the Jewish people go to Eretz Israel and they're going to settle in Israel, the land then going to start to be prosperity. When our cousin was there, it was like a wilderness, a desert, nothing grown, until the Jewish people came to the land of Eretz Israel. And when the Jews live in Eretz Israel, that's when the prosperity comes. It says something very interesting. He said, from here you learn Seder Mefarshim, something very interesting. That Kaf Het, it's mean also Koach. Kaf Het, you can read it Koach. That means it's come to tell us that inevitably our strength is when we're going to be united, when we're thanking HaKadosh Baruch Hu to show gratitude, to show our gratitude to who? To HaKadosh Baruch Hu. By that we're going to celebrate Yom Yerushalayim. And we have to remember, Yom Yerushalayim not belong to any sector. Yom Yerushalayim belong to the Almighty. If in Yom Yerushalayim we daven with full kavanah, you want to say Hallel, say Hallel. What is the problem to say Hallel? All year around you can say Hallel, except the certain days that we mourning that we can't say Hallel. What is Hallel? Hallel is Tehillim. Milshon lehalel, to gratitude, to praise the Almighty. The Shala come if you should say with the bracha or without the bracha. Most of the poskim today, paskin not to say with the bracha. Everyone can say and praise Hallel. Hallel is Tehillim. Look at the Hallel, the prayer of Hallel, it's all Tehillim, to praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu. If we praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we show our gratitude to the Master of Universe, the one that given us Eretz Israel. If we know to understand that Kafhet Iyar is a day to praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu and to show our gratitude to him, and to live in unity and peace, yad beyad, that's become yadid, that we friends one to each other, that's what's going to symbol our victory over our enemy. Yom Kafhet Iyar is a day that we have to show our unity. Yom Kafhet Iyar is a day that we have to show our gratitude to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to praise. And Be'ezrat Hashem, if we're going to be united, and if we're going to show our gratitude, and we're going to be yad beyad, that it's mean yadid, and yadid gematria 28, that it's kafhet, Be'ezrat Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will show us miracle. That's how it's going to lead us to have Eretz Israel, the unity. The most important thing that HaKadosh Baruch Hu expects to us and he wants from us is to be united one with each other. That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants from us. Rabotai, we have to understand one very important thing, that Kafhet Iyar, it's also the Yortzeit of Shmuel HaNavi. What is the next festival that we're celebrating? Shavuot. What is Shavuot? We're celebrating the day that we receive the Holy Torah on Mount Sinai. Shmuel HaNavi that wrote the book of Megillat Ruth, the book of Ruth, he wrote it to show the lineage from Ruth HaMoaviyah until David HaMelech. That means all of that was one idea to show us who is Melech HaMashiach, where the Melech HaMashiach is going to come from. And if he wrote the book of Megillat Ruth, the book of Ruth, and he down Kafhet Yar, when we conquered the entire old city of Jerusalem and all the holy places, it's come to teach us how much we have to be united. Especially like Bnei Israel stood up in Mount Sinai. Vaya'amdu, that when Bnei Israel stood up in Mount Sinai, Chazal said, Ke'am echad belev echad. What it means, Kelev echad, Ke'am echad belev echad, that all the Jewish people, when they stood on the bottom of Mount Sinai, they have one heart to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So if we're going to be united, if we're going to love each other, and we're going to be friends with each other, yad beyad, if it's the left or it's the right, זה לא משנה. As long that we're going to be united, we can see the miracle. We can see, Be'ezrat Hashem, the same miracle that HaKadosh Baruch Hu done for us 57 years ago. He might going to show us, please God, this Tuesday. Be'ezrat Hashem, He will send us Mashiach Tzidkenu, and then we'll see the speedily redemption of that we're waiting, that we want to say enough for all the war in the world. We'll see Mashiach Tzidkenu, and we'll see the great, beautiful building of Bet HaMikdash. Amen Ken Yehi Ratzon. Rabotai, I would like to thank each one of you personally that you joined the show. Thank you very much for joining us. Next week, when is that? Let me just make sure. It's going to be on, Erev Rosh Chodesh. Erev Rosh Chodesh, it's going to be the show of the Parshat HaShavua. And the following Sunday, just before Shavuot, we'll do a show, Be'ezrat Hashem, about Shavuot. In the meantime, I would like to thank all of you for joining us tonight. Thank you very much. I hope that you enjoyed the show. Those of you that want to ask questions, please unmute the microphone and I'll try to answer all the questions if I can. Bechavot. Ken, bechavot. Who's with us? No, don't be shy. Just unmute the microphone and ask.
Well,
Jeffrey?
I'll start.
Sure, you can start. I'm waiting for you.
Here we are. We're coming up to the 28th of ER. And we arrived at Sinai in the second year. On the
Not
15th,
the second year. No, the second month. The second month.
Oh, sorry, on the second month, which was the 15th of ER.
15 of ER, and where? In the wilderness of Sin.
In the wilderness,
Midbar Sinai.
Right, and on the 28th day of that same month, 13 days later, Amalek came to fight us. We received the Torah. They wanted to destroy everything that we received. Within 13 days, the whole world must have heard what was going on in Sinai. It's just like the whole world knew about the splitting of the sea. They must have all known. So Amalek took that opportunity where there was unity to try and break us, to try and come up. So it was on the 28th of the second month. Now they came to fight us. Now this 28th, they're already fighting us. They're already fighting us out. So Could this?
But you have to ask, why did Amalek came to fight with us? Maybe
because
I forgot to
he
mention.
had, they had.
Because we wasn't united. We wasn't hand by hand.
Yeah.
Chazal say, and Rashi bring, why is it called Refidim? Why they call that place Refidim? Sherafu yedehem min haTorah. That now they stop studying Torah. Now they have a different ideas. They wasn't united. We wasn't united as a nation to study Torah.
Yeah.
But they didn't receive the Torah, you can tell me, because the Torah they received only on the 6th of Sivan.
Yes.
But they get certain laws. They have certain laws. You understand? And we wasn't united.
Yeah.
When did Hamas attack us? 7th of October.
Yes.
What was 7th of October? Yom Simchat Torah in Eretz Israel.
Yep.
What was 7th of October? We wasn't united. We didn't was joy and happiness in our Torah like we should be. Because we was divided. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent us a different Amalek with a different shape, with a different name. Why? To unite the nation. On the 7th of October, after everyone here, how united we was. How quickly from people that attack us, we was already attacking them. Quickly. But then we start again. We don't learn. We start to have argument. We start the dividing become bigger and bigger. Now we start demonstration. That's what make them stronger. That's what give them energy when we divide it.
Yeah. Well,
You follow?
Now, I mean, even up to today, they're threatening to disband the government at this moment, which is a terrible situation.
Yeah.
I mean, at any time, not now. I mean, when you're middle of a war.
What did they want to do? They want to take Talmidei Hachamim to the army. I agree. You want to take people to the army, those that doesn't study all day in yeshiva, they must go. Every rabbi agree to it. But to take those that protecting us, that doing the war with Damas, what's wrong? You understand where we go? We're losing everything that we had. The Avrechim, you want to take him from their chair. What's wrong with you? They're the heart of the shield of Israel. If not them, what we will do? How we would see miracle? And all of that hatred that we have among us, we should put it aside and let HaKadosh Baruch Hu help us with this war. We say that we're strongest nation in the Middle East. A little city like Gaza, we can't finish it. There was in Jabalia, they left Jabalia, I call it Jabalia. They're waiting for us again. What does it come to tell us?
Not the might of an army.
Everything in the hand of HaKadosh Baruch.
Yeah.
When we stop saying, Kohi v'otzem yadi asali et tahayl hazeh, and we put our eyes and we lift it up to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the same like we was united in 6-day war, we'll see miracle.
Yeah.
Then HaKadosh Baruch Hu will turn everything for us, upside down.
Yeah.
But until then, we have so much confidence in our army and ourselves. Ken, bechavod.
Well, we're coming up now shortly, and the day of the 27th is a very worrying day.
Actually, it's a good day for the Jewish people. Why?
Yeah.
Because the evil forces have no control.
Yes. No.
Said the Gaon Vilna.
Yeah.
That בכ"ז אייר, אין לסטרא אחרא שליטה.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
understand that? That the
Now that's
Sitra
the
Achra, what
negative
it
energy.
means, Sitra Achra? Sitra Achra is in Aramaic, the other side. What it means, the other side? The evil forces have no control. And said the Gaon מווילנה, יום שמסוגל מאוד להחיש את גאולת ישראל. That day can speed the redemption of the Jewish people. 27. It doesn't say that the Geula are going to be there. We have to be very accurate with the word that he said, להחיש, to speed the redemption of the Jewish people.
Yeah, yeah. So more than any other thing, that even though we celebrate the 28th, the 27th must be really devoted in tefillah and gratitude.
Gratitude, unity, davening to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. זה החידוש. That's the hidush of the 28th. Nachon that we go to Jerusalem, but that's on a surface. Look at the spiritual part that's hiding behind the 28th. That's Kafhet, Gematria 28, Yad Beyad, Yad Yamin Yad Small. What it means, Yad Beyad, Yadid, friend, that we should be friend. Gratitude, to show gratitude to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for all of this. That's what David HaMelech said. עשה לך נס, נתן לך נס להתנוסס. He done for you a miracle. Why did you mean? To elevate you. If you continue to elevate HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you continue to do your miracle. To praise HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's our job. Like Haval, that we a bit slow about it.
Well, we've been given a rude awakening. We've been given a very rude awakening what's happened. And because of what's happened, people are becoming more unified. Maybe the government are fighting amongst themselves for positions and what have you, for individuals. But as a country, we are more united than we've ever been before.
I think so. That's what also our friend Louis said. Remember, Louis can vouch for it.
Here we go.
Can ask.
But Rabbi, but as you say, there's a lot of this. A lot of these protests that are going on, which is they're trying to divide the country and trying to divide the people.
No, they will not divide the people. People want Hashem. That's the truth.
Those people who don't, and a lot of that is people who can't understand what you're saying. That the value of people of the Torah scholars living in studying Yeshiva, it's beyond their understanding. They can't relate.
I agree with you there. It's something that, unfortunately, how should I put it, that I don't insult anybody, that people without Torah learning haven't got the heart and the understanding what Hashem is doing. And they were going to wake up with a big bang to find out what's happening. And don't worry, the rest of the world might think that we are bickering against one another. At the end of the day, the Jews will stand for one another and for Hashem. And that's the end of the story now. It's enough now.
I think that's the Hidush. I agree with, I intend to agree because that's what I mentioned earlier. That unity is only amongst the Jewish people. The Goyim doesn't have such thing, unity.
They don't know what's unity.
The Egypt now, see what's happening to the people in Gaza. She's not willing to allow any humanitarian supplier to Gaza through Rafah border. Why? Because she wants Israel to leave. They doesn't care if people will die from starvation or sickness. from health reason, whatever the case is, there's nothing. They don't care about their brother. Why? Because they want to be control of that Rafah border.
Correct.
The rest is not important. The brothers, their sisters, their mothers, their fathers, they can all die. Where do we see it? Look at Gaza. Where did they shoot him? From school, from mosque, from hospital. They don't care about each other. They don't have such thing, unity. And when we're going to realize that they don't have unity, and we have something above it that's called unity, and that's the major key to win the war, then we're going to win the war. The majority in Israel, one unity. You have a small group that causing all of this havoc. Be'ezrat Hashem, that's also going to be solved up. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will solve it up. Nachon that they have the upper hand when it's come to government control and that. But the majority of the people, it's unbelievable. Look how they're supporting the soldier.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Look how the Jewish people support each other. How they go and give them food, how they go and people organizing washing for those soldiers, supplies from all over. That's beyond understanding. Unity is only on the Jewish people. Goyim doesn't have. We have to understand that. They maybe have what they call coalition, but not unity and care. That they don't have.
Correct.
They put their kids in a front and they're shooting behind their mother and the sisters and the brothers, the terrorists. These photos. That means he doesn't care that his mother gonna die. He doesn't care that his brothers or his sister gonna die. There's no unity. They don't care about each other. It's only us that we care about our brothers and sisters. We have the concept of unity, but the Goyim doesn't have. You follow?
Because their culture is one that they will they want to go to heaven. Their life is meaningless. Everything is meaningless. They're fighting the holy water, and if they die, they're going to go to heaven. That's their belief.
But we all
visit their virgins.
I agree with you. But we also say that we're going to heaven.
Their life, their culture is the whole purpose is to die for the holy cause and go to heaven.
That's what they say. Because that's what they believe.
That's what they.
But
yes,
to believe in it, and
we don't have that belief. No,
different. They don't have unity. You know how many thousands of terrorists the Israeli army killed? Baruch Hashem. Please God, many more. They don't care, and they still continue.
That's a problem. We're not fighting. We're not fighting against an enemy, which is based on country. We're fighting against a force of religion. It's a religious battle. It's a battle of civilization.
Okay.
And
that they're not united. That's why they're losing the war all the time. If they was united,
but the problem is we with our Western mind can't think that way. We want to be kachol goyim. That's the problem.
Thereby, that's our problem. I agree with you here. Here I agree with you fully. But in a moment that we understand that we're not like kol goyim, and we are a special nation, and we have to get united.
Yes.
Then we're going to be all goyim. We're going to be a light to the nation.
We can only be united when there is a realization of where the base on which we are founded. Where everybody amongst those people who are not knowledgeable with Torah, the history for them of Israel begins in 48. That's not where we. If you don't understand that, you've got nothing.
The history of the Jewish people starts
because just United Nations could give us Israel. That's what they want to do. What the United Nations are wanting to do now is take away Israel from the Jews. That's the whole point of the ICJ and the United Nations. They want to destabilize.
For sure. I agree with you fully.
Yes, Israel.
But they're not going to succeed because HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised us.
Yizrat Hashem, yeah.
HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised us he's never going to leave them.
In Yehikavod, it says there are many people will come up against us, but Hashem's advice is
HaKadosh
steadfast.
Baruch Hu said to promise to Abraham Avinu in a covenant. Okay? And a covenant of the path, the Brit Ben Abetarim, that he's not going to change us with any other nation. He's not going to desert us.
Well, that's one of the 13 principles of faith that we should be saying every day.
No, if we believe that, everything's going to be okay.
We just have to have him. Yeah,
for sure.
But that's
what you say 3 times a day. והם משתחווים להבל וריק. נכון? That's what you say.
Yeah.
ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים.
So just even if
מה זה הבל וריק? הבל וריק.
Yeah.
הבל וריק. Christianity. And
Verik. Emptiness. But their God is not.
Gematria, Hevel, Varik, stone and a wood.
Sure.
What is stone and a wood? The Muslim throws stone in the place, in Mecca, but the black stone. That's Hevel.
Hevel.
Wood, Hevel, Varik, stone and wood. Eitz va'even. מה זה eitz va'even? Eitz.
It was
Edom. Edom.
Yeah.
The Christianity, where the biltong hangs.
But Hevel, if you look at, when they throw the stone, yeah.
You understand, Stevie?
But you know what? If you look at, yeah.
That's the idea. Hevel varik. מה זה hevel varik? עץ ואבן. You say it. עץ ואבן. Muslim.
Yes.
The Islam and the Christianity.
But how's Hevel stone?
Huh? Hevel varik. Even va'etz. Even is stone. Etz, it's wood.
Yeah, I know. But how did you get that from Hevel?
Hevel. Not Evel. Not the Kain and Hevel. Hevel. It's like the sound that you say. Yes. Hevel varik. They just talk with no meaning. You understand? Hevel varik. Rik is emptiness. Yeah. Hevel is the sound.
Sure.
You understand? Gematria, Eitz, Va'even. מה זה Eitz Va'even? Eitz, Christianity. Even, Islam.
Because, but as you say, what a matter of interest is, if you look at the throwing of the stones in Mecca, that is a throwback to Mercurius, where they used to throw stones at the god for Mercury.
No.
So
Avodah Zarah. You ask what is Avodah Zarah? Here is Avodah Zarah. That's the mahloket of Rashi.
That's the
mahloket that Rashi and the Rambam have. According to Rashi, Islam and Christianity, Avodah Zarah. According to the Rambam, Christianity is Avodah Zarah. I agree with Rashi. He says that the Rambam says
that not Avodah Zarah.
Christianity is definitely Avodah Zarah. But Islam is not Avodah Zarah. That's the mahloket between Rashi and the Rambam. The Rambam said Christianity is Avodah Zarah, Islam not. Rashi said both of them of the Avodah Zarah, idol worship.
It's really interesting. Yeah,
You
it's
see the
really
difference?
interesting
That's what we have to understand. Hevel is the
because you know they
sound,
say
the
they're
voice.
bringing.
They just talk, but they don't do nothing. Hevel varik, remember that. Emptiness.
Is? Yeah.
It's all empty voice that you hear them davening, that they're mentioning. They're just talking nonsense. Nothing. There's nothing behind it. It's all empty. It's all empty, empty, empty. That's the difference between us as Jewish nation and them.
Thank you, Rav. Have a good night.
I hope that you enjoyed the show, Rabotai.
Perfect.
Any other question, Rabotai? Any other show?
Rabbi.
Any other question? Yes, Frank.
Rabbi Frank, just one thing I'm interested about. When we conquered the and got back Jerusalem in 1967, was it 67 years? What made us give the Jordanians the custody of the temple? We could have taken it and said to the Jordanians, look.
We didn't give the Jordanian. It was the Ministry of Defense. In that time, Moshe Dayan, Mr. One Eye, he called the Mufti. The Mufti was running for his life. He called them and he said, you don't have to run. And that was when we lost the war.
Yeah.
That was when we lost the war with Mr. One Eye, called the Mufti and given him the key back. Moshe Dayan. The Mufti was running for his life.
But what made him do that? What made Dayan do that?
Because
he thought he'd get peace. You don't talk to these people about peace. They don't understand what peace is about. That's
the Torah
the
tells
story.
you leave them amongst you, they're going to be abomination. Remember?
Yeah.
And here we see the abomination. When they was running, we should help them
to go,
to fly off, not to run, to fly off.
Yeah.
I don't understand any other. But if you leave them amongst you, they're going to be abomination.
And a thorn on your side. That says you're going to be a thorn on your side.
Yeah. They are a thorn. They are a thorn that we don't know how to handle them.
Well, Hashem's going to have to help us handle them because we've got to realize.
Frank, I got cut off there. Hello?
Sorry, can you hear us?
Yes,
Frank?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear
you. Understand what's happened? That Mr.
You know what happened? My alarm went off.
He know better than the Torah.
Yes.
Because he never read the Torah. He never read the Torah. You follow?
Yes, I understand that. Yeah. So he decided that it wasn't.
No, if you have a better knowledge, if you would read our Torah, you would see what the Torah said. If you leave them amongst you, they're going to be abomination to you.
Yeah.
You follow, Frank?
Yes, and also they said right from the beginning. I remember the Rabbi says, "Don't give them an inch of our land," and we gave them the whole. Yes.
If you give them, it will never stop. You give them
a
finger,
they'll take more.
The hand.
That's
then they want the hand, they're going to take the arm. Exactly.
Yeah. And that's where the West doesn't understand their psychology. The West says we got to try and appease them and we've got to do this and make friends, and they don't understand. The more they appease them, the more they want. You know what's happening with America and all the Western countries. And another thing which I heard, which was very interesting as well, that you remember what happened with this latest incident when they used the smallest of bombs and the whole thing blew up. And they've got all the wireless technology and everything like that. And they heard the one Arab saying to the Arab thing that they've hit an underground ammunition bunker, which they didn't know about it. I don't know if you heard about, this last incident in the
They
That
blamed
was
us. They
that
blamed us
was
for the
last.
big fire. They blamed us for everything.
That was in Rafah when they bombed Rafah.
Yes. So
America told us to be careful which missile you're going to shoot from the airplane. So they told us that we have to use a special weapon that's not going to cause so much explosive, not to cause any casualty to innocent people, if there is such thing, there is such thing. But Israel, when she shot that missile, she knew that there is there two heads of the Hamas. But they didn't realize that amongst the civilian, there is a lot of ammunition under.
Yeah,
They're saying about that. Do you understand?
Yes. That's what I'm saying. And the world is too quick to condemn, but they don't wait to get the truth.
It doesn't make a difference.
They don't want to
They
understand.
don't want to see the truth.
They don't want
They don't want to see the truth. The world don't want to see the truth.
Yeah.
That's the difference, Frank.
Yeah.
The world don't want to see the truth.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. And remember, you said to me that we have to go into Rafah because we have to get the sparks out. There are a few sparks left over.
So let me explain that. Rafah is 288.
Yes.
Moshe Rabbeinu, it's 288 sparks that we lost when Adam HaRishon done the sin of Eitz Hadat. You remember I explained, Frank?
Yes.
Moshe Rabbeinu rectified 202 sparks in Egypt. Okay? Left 86. Left 86 sparks that we have to rectify. It's Gematria Elokim.
Right.
Okay. So if they go to Rafah, they can rectify. Not that all the spark is there. The spark is somewhere else. But because the source of all of evilness is in Rafah. Why? I explained, because it was two angels that came down from heaven.
Yes.
That's their capital in Gaza. I can't mention their name, especially not. I don't want any dealing with them at night. Not that I want with them any dealing during the day. I don't want any dealing with them. But their name, I'm going to say it, Ain, Zain, Vav, Aleph. The other one, Ain, Zain, Aleph, Lamed.
Okay.
Where's the capital? Where did they hiding?
Rafah.
In Gaza. So when we're going to rectify the 86 sparks that left, the holy sparks, okay, then the Mashiach will come.
There's just one other thing, one other thought. If this war wouldn't have started, before they used to have a war and they used to shoot off a few rockets, a lot of rockets, and we were condemned after 7 or 8 days. We were forced to have a ceasefire, and we never ever got in properly. They never ever let us go away. Get going and going. After a week or two, they'd stop us from fighting. So we never ever got going. But for this particular war, because they started it and are like that, that's probably one of Hashem's way of us getting to the whole of the thing and getting into Rafah.
It's not Hashem that before בחג השבועות, הקדוש ברוך הוא will show us miracle. בעזרת השם, that הקדוש ברוך הוא will have mercy and compassion on us, the same like he done to the Jewish people when they was in Egypt. He will hurry up our redemption. Because it's enough, it's enough. We're suffering, it's enough to our suffering. That's what we have to daven, to ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu enough. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please, hurry up our redemption.
We have to cry out to him now. Cry out like we did in Israel.
And we have to be united.
Well, we are at the moment.
We have to love every Jew, and we can't allow little people to stop us. And I say little people with narrow mind.
And you heard what happened. It was also Hashem's doing that. They built this pier and it broke apart. They had like, when did they ever have these wild storms in the Mediterranean? And it floated away.
Yeah.
All the money.
That's all from Shamayim. Everything is from Shamayim.
Absolutely, Rabbi. Absolutely.
But please God, we have to daven. We have to daven. We have to daven. We have to daven. And we have to praise and praise the Almighty.
All the time.
When we say every morning, Mizmor LeTodah. When we say Mizmor LeTodah, after Baruch She'amar, after we say Baruch She'amar, we say Mizmor LeTodah. We should say it with tune, with joy and happiness. Thanks, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. All what He's doing for us.
Yes. No.
This is our job. Bezrat Hashem will see miracle.
In any case, you said that every 2 weeks now. Remember, you said every 2 weeks we having a festival or something. Every 2 weeks, which is happening
until Shabbat.
Yes.
That look, we have every 2 weeks.
So we are our star is definitely
Iyar, Ani, Rashi Tevot, the word of Iyar, Ani Hashem Rofecha. Almighty, your cure. I will cure you. Sivan, we received the Torah. We reached to the peak, 49. Maybe HaKadosh Baruch Hu will cure us all and will make you unity among us, love among us. Open our eyes that we can see the miracle that He's doing, that we can praise Him. You follow?
Yes. Yes.
Unity, love, yad beyad, to be friend, hand with hand. That's kafhed. That's the koach. That's the strength. How are we going to win the war?
Yeah.
Kafhed is koach. Kaf v'het ze koach. Strength. I explain. Yad beyad, hand with hand. We're going to be friends one with each other. That's the strength. How we can win it. You follow?
Follow, Rabbi. Follow.
Okay. Any other question, Rabotai? No. I hope that, Rabotai, I hope that you enjoyed the show. I hope that I brought the spiritual part of Yom Yerushalayim, not only the idea of the physical. How is the spirituality fit with Yom Yerushalayim? I hope that you enjoy. I would like to thank each one of you personally for joining the show. To wish you all Shavua Tov, a beautiful week ahead. And Be'ezrat Hashem, we'll meet again on Thursday night. Be'ezrat Hashem, Erev Rosh Chodesh. Sivan. In the meantime, have a beautiful week. Good night, and hope to see you. Be'ezrat Hashem on Thursday night. In the meantime, have a good night and a beautiful week ahead. Good night, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.